Page 23, Come Buy My Balloons. 3/4 time has a pickup beat. We're still in that G position we were in before. Let's talk about this a bit, starting with the right hand. When it comes in, your thumb's on G, so that puts you here. And it comes in on that beat 3 of that measure. So it's 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. But for the most part, that's the right hand. Those are the only notes you're using, and you can count out the rhythm, I'm sure. For the left hand, you're starting down here in this position, so your G position down here, coming out on beat 3. 3, 1, 2, 3. Come up on 3. It's a rest. So when the right hand plays that, the left 1, 2. Then the left hand, the last two measures of the first line, it's an A and a D. The next one is a B and a D, and then you're back here. And for the most part, that's the left hand. Phrasing, let's talk about this, because see these slurred lines? They're not necessarily phrases in this case, they might be, but the point is connect the notes with a little silence between them. So between here, the beginning, and the right hand does its thing here, a little silence between those. Lift up here just on the left hand just a little early before you come down here. Don't connect the notes. No, we want 1, 2. And at the end of the line, before you play the last note in the left hand here, lift up the right hand so we have a little silence. It's the end of a phrase. Like so. Put in the silence between the phrases, it really helps. Let's talk about that measure. You've already had these in the method book, I hope, or they wouldn't be using them here. So if you look at the last measure, you say, okay, that's got 2 beats, that makes sense, everybody's happy. However, it doesn't always work that way. It's not always going to be the last measure. In this key piece, it's a little tricky because this piece actually has 2 different sections in it. And a lot of times the measure that gets split will be the last measure of that section, not of the piece. So if you take a look at the third line at the end of it, there's a repeat sign. The repeat sign takes you back to the beginning to play that part again. But more importantly, the repeat sign is covering up the little double bars that that split up sections in music. Sometimes the repeat sign is there and it covers it up, sort of. So that last line is actually a different section. It's like a coda, an afterthought stuck on. So the last measure of the third line is 2 beats. That's the measure that got split and put at the beginning. So the first 3 lines stand alone by themselves. You could actually get away with playing it just the first 3 lines, it's fine. Then in the last line, you'll notice the first measure of the last line has 1 beat in it, but the last measure of the last line has 2, so again, that altogether, that section is fine. So that's how I understand these things. The point is, a quarter note gets a count, and you're coming on beat 3. Forget the rest of that theory junk. It's just dynamic-wise, loud at the beginning, and it's all melody at first. And then the right hand has melody. The left hand needs to be softer. And then it's soft. That means in the second line, on the third measure, the left hand has to be really soft. Now, sort of loud, medium loud, moderately loud. That's the right hand. Keep the left hand soft. You're loud. Now the last line, it's soft. Hold that down. Hold the D down in the right hand. See, they're overlapping here. Up above they didn't. This is different. Then the speed is moderately fast. It's a happy piece. You're trying to get people to buy your balloons, I guess. 1, 2, 2. Softly. third line, you're ending up loud again. And then the last line, it's soft, it's an after. And then the last two measures is really slow. Just count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. How much slower it is, that's up to you. It's just much slower. And that's the piece. So when you add the dynamics and it starts to actually sound like music. And you get past the point where you're thinking mechanics and you can start focusing on the feeling of the music, that's when it turns into music. Now there is a note at the bottom that when you do the repeat and go do the first three lines again, you can, if you want, play the left hand an octave higher. So instead of here, you bring the hand up here. And you just play the same note names, but they're an octave higher. So it's a G and a D if you want. I'm not going to do that. In the play with me, I'm going to stay down here. But that's up to you. But when you get to the last line, come back down here for the last line. I'll give us 2 counts because there's a pickup beat. Normally I give us 3 counts in 3/4 time, but 2 counts because we come in on beat 3. So very slowly, and we will do the repeat. Ready, go.